everyone, how you going? So I just thought I'd do a reply to the 7:30 report. A lot more balanced this time, even though it doesn't appear to be from some other people's perspectives. Let me just mention that, for instance, I'm curious as to why they couldn't get any of the other reference committees to speak, you know, the people that are on the reference committee to speak, right? Because no one could confirm that it's made any difference. No one has any data because, remember, the Adelaide University report is not being released, obviously, because it doesn't say what they want it to say, even though taxpayers have spent $2.9 million on that. So they're waiting for another report now, so they say. I wonder if that coincides with the advertising that Orima's been doing online, asking for Aboriginal people to do their survey for vouchers again. But that wouldn't be relevant to Hinkler anyway. So important factors that need to be put forward here. The no disrespect to the First Nations elder, all right, but he's in Maryborough in the Wide Bay electorate. So why is he on the reference committee, right, in the first place for Hinkler? Okay, let's point that one out. Keith Pitt will not talk to his constituents who have issues with the card. He's been the same all the way through. It's always been go to Centrelink, go to Indu, right? There's the hotline number. It's nothing to do with me. It's government policy. I can't fix it. I can't help you. Go away, right? After the first 12 months of that, people stop probably going because they know he won't do it. As for misinformation, I hate it when he will not acknowledge that people's lives, and when they come out in public and they say what's happening, he's as good as calling them liars. That's not right either. You know what I mean? They just can't seem to accept it's a failure, and it is a failure. So we filmed a lot more than what there was used. That happens. Do you know what I mean? Because some of the stuff I filmed spoke about the removal of consumer protections, privacy rights, you know, the loss of autonomy. They've used that in its correct context in which I put it. And so, I mean, of course, Keith Pitt's going to have most of the airtime. Why can't any of these reference committee members tell the difference between the basics card and the cashless debit card? You notice that Glenn Miller spoke about items like drugs and alcohol, and then he said tobacco. And now tobacco and cigarettes are allowed on the card. They're not banned products. But they don't seem to be able to distinguish between the differences between basics card and cashless debit card. They're just following the script, because I noticed Faye Whiffen tripped up on it as well. And all the ones that troll us trip on it as well. They automatically think tobacco's banned like the basics card. So, you know, I don't know what to say anymore. Karen did the best she could. She did a good job with what they used. You know, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, what will be the next study? Because every time there's been so many studies and they all say the same thing. Forced income management does not work, whether it be basics card or cashless debit card. But the privatisation of Social Security should be a worry for people, right? Companies like Indu taking over people's autonomy, decision making, right, is just crazy. And well, why can't people see the danger in this? You know, how can anybody think it's okay to strip another Australian of their rights, their freedoms, their choices, and then say, oh, too bad when they can't pay their rent, or too bad if they lose their car, or too bad when they can't buy food when it fails, or too bad you can't use it in your town because you're out of region, and too bad, too bad. Well, this is just crazy. So we'll wait for it to officially load up onto the ABC 7:30 page a bit later, and because my understanding is it may not have aired in Queensland yet, because 7:30 report comes on free to air at 7:30 our time. It's only 7:50 now, so Yeah, what can I say? Keith Pitt, stop calling card holders liars. You know what I mean? Stop it. It doesn't do you any favours, mate, that you just put down your constituents at every turn. And you're blocking their lives from being able to go forward. And you're making their lives harder. You know, and that of their kids' lives as well when they miss out. You know, Karen spoke about the trauma of that event that she went to, and she was actually told it was a free event by the school, and when she got there, they had an entry fee. She couldn't pay the entry fee. So the lady let her in for free. This was just, you know, to watch her daughter perform, and her other two kids were with her at the time, the two that she had with her, they couldn't enjoy the face painting or the any of the rides or anything. She had money trapped on the card. It totally destroyed her. You know, and it's made people like Karen very reclusive because they got sick of being bullied at the supermarket. They got sick of being called a druggie, you know, and their mental health has collapsed and nobody gives a sodding, well, he doesn't give a sodding damn about it. You know, where's the mental health funding, Keith, in your town for people like Karen? You know, and caring people that understand that she's now under financial abuse. Same conditions as being in a domestic violence relationship, right? And, yeah, but they don't see it as financial abuse because Indu's getting their money. Their stakeholders are getting all their money, and all of the support services that support this are getting their wages, you know? So, and that's all they're worried about now is, oh, if this goes down, I might lose my contract. I might lose my job. We might lose our funding. We can't speak up because we've got a contract with Indu. We're not allowed to speak, right? So we can't speak up about anything that our clients are going through. This is what we've been told by some of the service providers ourselves. We know that people have got difficulties, but we can't speak out because there's a contract with Indu gagging us. You know what I mean? It's terrible. But we're not going to quit giving card holders a voice and providing a platform for card holders to speak up and encouraging card holders to make complaints with the relevant authorities and Basic Rights Queensland and jump up and down because they're still Australians and they should be protected under all our laws in this country. They should not be, excluded from anything. Not segregated. Their kids shouldn't be missing out on anything. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say, but I'll leave that with you for now. But it's just, you know, what report, Mari? The Adelaide University report, the government won't release it. There is no report. And the only thing I can think of in regard to what he was saying about another evaluation being made, well, they won't release the Adelaide University report, which was required by it was in legislation to do so, right? And, you know, the only thing I've been seeing is Oromo is now advertising again in Aboriginal communities for people to do a survey about their lives. You know what I mean? But is that the report they're waiting for? I don't know. There is no other report. And as of March, when the new bill comes in, they don't have to show anybody, they don't have to do any evaluations. They don't have to do any more reports. They don't have to show anybody anything, right? So I don't know what Keith Pitt was dribbling on about, some report. The only report we want to see is the Adelaide University report. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? That's what we want to see. Marie Grace, I posted the video of the 7:30 report video on the page. Just scroll down a bit because we already had it in Queensland and I was able to, on my TV anyway, I was able to video it. So, yeah, we want to see the Adelaide University report and see what it said. So, thank you to Shelley Bellafield again. who got a couple of words in regarding the Griffiths University report, which absolutely tears their Keith Pitt's anecdotal rubbish to pieces. Because the difference is the Griffiths University is quantitative data, not qualitative data. It's not anecdotes, it's quantitative data, right? And so it can't be fudged with. You know, she didn't get enough time to say more, because I know Shelley would have said a lot more, but they're limited for time as well. And basically, because of the nature of our LNP government, of course, Keith Pitt's going to get more airtime. Somebody made a comment in one of the other groups that it was bias, you know, and I'm just grateful that Karen got to speak. At least one of my points got across. Shelley got a little bit in. Where Glenn Miller comes into it, I don't know, right? He lives in Maryborough, in the electorate of Wide Bay. That is not Hinkler. Why is he on the reference committee for Hinkler? I don't know. He runs Bacello Men's Organisation, right? He probably does a lot of good for people that he helps out. And he probably believes whatever, but how can he when he doesn't live in the card area, he doesn't associate with card holders in Bundaberg or Hervey Bay? You know what I mean? Why is he on the reference committee for another electorate? I mean, Keith Pitt's always having a go because, people outside my electorate. Well, yeah, I'm just over the border, but I'm still in the region, and I'm still in contact with card holders, and people still post our stories. Do you know what I mean? Centre Alliance, vote them out. Yes, we'll never let anybody forget what Centre Alliance, the stunt they pulled, right, at like 5 to midnight that night in December, on the 9th of December, when they stuck the knives into everybody's back and betrayed everybody by lying to everybody. For the last 2 years, we won't vote on it if the evaluation isn't handed down. And voila, they decided for a 2-year extension because, you know, we're still waiting for the evaluation that was supposed to have been finalised last year, or in fact 2019. It was supposed to have been tabled. So anyway, I'm going to get off. You know, put your comments in the comments, and I'll respond likewise, and I suppose I'm going to be busy. So Barbara says here, where does Pitt get off saying that if people were against the card, they'd be queuing up outside his office? He won't engage with anyone who has an issue, and he has blocked so many of us from commenting. Yes, it actually made the media up here in 2017. He blocked so many people that were constituents that we actually had to remind them that, hang on a minute, you're actually shutting down half your constituents here. You're shutting down their freedom of speech, right? But you're actually shutting them down and ignoring them as though they're no longer citizens. But then again, you've taken all their rights away from them and handed that all over to Indu to control them, you know what I mean? It's like, it's disappointing. They're still going on about buying alcohol and drugs. Remember, that's the catch thing that they're going to be using. You know, and they never mention that Indu staff make financial decisions for people based on their own personal preferences, do they? No, because nobody's going to do that as yet, right? One day, the truth will come out. But how many people are going to suffer? How many small businesses, communities, how many people are going to suffer along the way before it happens? 13 years of the basics cards destroyed First Nations autonomy and their self-determination, and look at the conditions that they live in. It didn't help them with housing or better schools or better education or get them jobs, right? They've got dirty water, no power, no infrastructure, right? Hello, $1.9 billion been thrown at basics card. Low birth weights, high suicide rates. I don't see anything where it's done anything good. Apart from, I had one lady who volunteered for the original system, which came with wraparound services, and she could draw $1,500 every time she reached that limit, and it helped her because she volunteered for it. And she wasn't compulsorily controlled by it. It's a different system. But when the anti-intervention came, they took away all those supports. They made it compulsory. People couldn't withdraw their savings. You know, and now with the cashless debit card, it's even worse. I don't know. But yes, it was noticeable they did not mention the Northern Territory. They did not mention old age pensioners in the Cape York going on it in March. Right? And it's like they're still keeping a lot of things secret. Or just don't say it and then people won't pick up on it. What can you do? Murdoch's pulling most of the strings. The Liberal Nationals are pulling all the strings of what can and can't be said. Right? We would love it if Four Corners would tear it to pieces. Because it's probably going to go down as one of the biggest rorts in this country against Australian citizens, the Australian people, the use of public money to transfer wealth to Indu, and now we've got Northern Territory Credit Union. We will be providing the cards for the Northern Territory and taking over those people's lives because government was quick to sign that contract. Quick, hand over the Northern Territory people to that credit union. You know what I mean? It's like handing over control of people's lives to the banks is not on. It's not on. What's going to happen? Eventually, you've got everybody controlled by the banks, and then the government says, oh, we don't need to be here anymore. But thanks for all the fish. We've just taken all your money. Right? And thanks for paying us $500,000 a year for nothing and paying for all of our food and our cars and our bills and our suits and all our holidays. And, you know what I mean? And our large pensions and our super. You know what I mean? Mind you, while this country crashes and burns. It's ridiculous. So, anyway, I want to get off. Check it out. Leave your comments. When it comes up on their page, we'll post it so you can leave comments on the ABC 7:30 report page. And well done, Karen. You did a good job. And, yeah, I know Karen's not feeling very well at the moment. Hang in there. All right. We're not going to stop. This has to stop eventually, and we've got to do something. Somebody says here, I'm worried about democracy. Yep. Yeah. Anyway, I'm out here. I'm going to go cook me dinner. All right. So, see you guys.